All indications are green. Just needs to wind up a little bit more. And the meeting is yours. Let me know if you need anything.
All right, thank you. We will call this regular meeting of the Commerce Township Parks Board to order. Ooh, wrong tab. All right, we will start with roll call. Debbie, are you good to do roll call?
I am good to do it. Thank you, Rachel. I have Wickert,
Present?
Pesh,
Here.
Burkheiser,
Here.
Champagne,
Here.
and Cast. We don't have Barb on yet, do we?
No, Barb and Henderson is going to be late.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do we have any communications this month?
None.
All right. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes, which were included in the meeting packet.
I'll make a motion.
Approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 27th, 2020, as written.
Support.
All right, motion by Wicker, support by Petch to approve the minutes from July 27th and August 17th. Any discussion?
I can't vote on August 17th. I wasn't there.
Should we do them as separate votes?
We would still have
I-
4 for a quorum.
Yeah, let's do separate.
Okay, so we can start with the July 27th then, and I believe it has to be a roll call vote because we're on Zoom.
Yep. We have Wickert,
Yes?
Pesh,
Yes.
Cast,
Yes?
Burkheiser,
Yes.
and Champagne. You were at the July 27th, correct?
Yes, I vote yes.
Okay. Thank you. Motion carried.
All right, and then
Someone
did you
else
say
needs,
we do have quorum or do have enough for August 17th or no?
Yes.
yes, we have 4. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the August 17th minutes as written.
Ken, support.
All right, motion by Wickert, support by Petch to approve the minutes from August 17th, and we'll do another roll call vote.
Wickert,
Yes?
Pesh,
Support. Yes.
Cast,
Yes?
Burkheiser,
Support. Yes.
and I have Champagne abstain. Thank you.
All right, do we have any public comments from anybody who's not on the agenda already tonight?
Yeah, and to any of the callers that are online, if you would like to speak, please press *9 on your keypad, and we will ask you to unmute your line. Again, if you press *9 on your keypad, we will be alerted that you would like to speak.
Emily,
Yeah,
I just wanted you to know I've been here since they were calling roll, but I was having trouble getting to unmuted, so.
okay. That's
Okay.
Barb Garbett.
Gotcha, Barb. Thank
Happy
you.
here, Barb.
Barb, you have to push the power button on.
And one last call to any of the callers that would like to speak. Please press *9 on your keypad. Seeing no hands raised at this time, Madam Chair.
All right, next we'll go to item 1, which is the League and Community Service Organization reports. Emily, are we just going off of what was submitted in writing?
Yes, and then I have an update from Windmill Farms that I'm going to read to you guys, and I didn't get anything from Todd, so he's on. If he has an update, he's more than welcome to give that. So Carrie at Windmill said they had 3 successful equestrian team meets at the Milford Field. The show was split between Saturday and Sunday each weekend to accommodate the COVID guidelines regarding limiting the number of people at outdoor gatherings. Now that the 5-year contract is in place, we can look forward with confidence in program development and are looking at how to best serve the residents of the township. The parking lot has been paved with crushed asphalt and the outdoor lighting has been repaired. Still waiting for the foundation work to be done at the barn where the tree was at. And a plan is being put together to address both immediate and future repair and maintenance needs for the property.
I think Tim raised his hand. Did you have Tim?
Oh,
No.
Tim's on.
Tim Bailey?
Yes, I do have a
Bailey's
report
on
for you
here.
guys.
Go ahead, Tim.
We had our late season or late summer league go out that was unplanned, that we got moved forward because of COVID. We had about 200 kids playing that league, and we got an overwhelming response of positivity. Parents were so happy to have something for their kids to do, and we got nothing but gratitude from that. So that was a very positive thing that came out of this whole deal. So they just finished up last week. We have a small tournament that's went on last weekend and it's going to be completed this next weekend, and then we're going to be pretty much done for the season. And we're planning for, we've already had a meeting, already planning for next year. Hopefully things
So-
go like normal.
So Tim, Bob Burkheiser, was that tournament this past weekend, like yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was out there yesterday. There was a whole bunch of cars out there, and it looked like they were having a good time. So
Yeah, it's a
Nice job.
2-weekend tournament, just because we have a number of travel teams, and then with daylight hours and all that kind of stuff. So we spread it out over 2 weekends, and it's actually becoming pretty popular. So thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Todd, did you have anything?
Sure, I did. I'll go ahead. For CW3, we launched last weekend. We did get some soccer together, much like Tim, probably echoing some of the same positive reviews from the parents and what have you. Numbers were down substantially, which is to be expected, everything considered, but everything went off without any issues, and Godspeed to everybody staying healthy, and we'll get the kids back up and going again in the spring.
Perfect. So everything else from the other leagues was sent out. If you have any specifics for Lakes, I know that Josh is on to answer if you have questions for him. And I'm pretty sure that Carrie was going to try to call in, and Byers is also on their call in.
I guess, Emily, it's more of a question on the mountain bike one. I don't know if someone's on for them, but
They're
are they
not.
still okay? So their comment is what they were looking for, I guess, from the township has to do with, is it the expansion of that trail that was running through the wetland area? We're
Yes.
still
Yes.
dealing with that. My
And
understanding is that was a firm requirement,
Yes.
and then so I don't-
So they're wanting to move forward. So we just need to, Michael, he was there when that was all going on, but he wasn't as active as he is now. So I think we just all need to regroup and let that conversation happen with him and Jay so that he completely understands the requirements, so that he knows what he has to take back so that they can move forward. So they're very interested in still doing that project. They're very interested in doing the project the right way. He just needs to be brought up to speed.
And I'll say, I'm trying to go from memory since I didn't have time to really look it all up. The big issue was the crossing over the water area. They needed a certain size
Yes.
bridge, whatever you want to call it. It has to be, I don't know, 8 feet wide or 4 feet wide or whatever it had to be. They wanted this little thing for a bike, and
Correct.
so that was the issue. Okay.
Yep.
All right, no other questions? All right, item 2 is the Parks and Recreation Department report.
Well, first I want to introduce you guys. I know some of you probably can't see her, and some of you can, but Allison Kennedy is on this meeting tonight. So you're going to see her face more as we move forward, post-COVID. We're hoping that things can go the way we were hoping they were going to go this year. So you're going to start seeing her more active in the parks world. So everybody welcome Allison. If you guys need anything, you can reach out to her. She's been with us for almost 2 years now. So exciting. As the executive order changed last week to go into effect on October 9th, that's going to allow us to potentially open the senior center up more. So we're looking at establishing those guidelines, working with the attorneys to at least start seeing some seniors back in the building. So that's exciting. I don't think it's going to make a difference as far as rentals go, because we want to make sure that the number that's allowed for a gathering meets the room requirements. And we hold a liquor license and we don't need to get in trouble with the MLCC. So we're still looking at that. Other than that, everything else I have is on the agenda unless you have specific questions for me.
So, Emily, I guess my question has more to do with size. My understanding is it's based on 20 people per 1,000 square feet. So I don't know what the heck that room is, but if that room's probably a couple thousand square feet, isn't it?
Yeah, so we can have 40 people
have-
in the smaller room, and we can have just a little over 60 in the large room. And the room capacity is a lot larger than that. And what I've been cautioned on is even if we put a contract in writing stating they cannot have any more than that number, there is no way to guarantee that that renter isn't going to have a big party and then heaven forbid somebody tests positive for COVID and then Commerce Township had it at their facility. So we've been asked to look a little further into it and have some more discussions with the MLCC.
And who says we've been asked? Who is that we?
Hans, that's
The
Hans
attorney.
would like to, yes.
So I think that's a board decision, to be honest. So that's fine. They can make that.
Quick question for you. Did we have in the past many small showers or, things of that nature?
Yes, but since the caterer has come on, we start seeing less of those because the renter now has to use that specific caterer for their food needs. And so the cost to have the small shower is now more than what they wanted to pay.
Okay, thanks.
All right, if there's no other questions for Emily, item 3 is the Township Board report.
So it's been I think it's been a couple months since we've gotten together. We've been spending a lot of time, like every Tuesday, it seems like, doing budget stuff. So we've broken the budget. It's actually worked fairly well. But we've broken the budget up into sections, and on a Tuesday night, we'll go over police and fire, and another one we'll go over maybe 3 more areas. So anyway, hopefully the last budget meeting is tomorrow night. It's probably going to be the longest one. It has the general fund is in there, parks and recreation information in there. There's a lot of stuff in that budget to haggle out and come up with a plan on what we want to do. But so anyway, hopefully the budget stuff will be done shortly, and that'll all come in for a vote. And so my hope is that we can then, at the beginning of the year, put in place the things that we want to get done, as opposed to waiting. I feel like we lost this year on a lot of the things we want to do, understandably, but and I think that's what Allison is looking to do, is to make sure we line things up with whatever we're looking to do in our parks. So that we've spent several months doing that. We've approved, as you're probably aware, the SADs for police and fire as to what those will be. Those were the first ones we did. You heard that we approved I call it the horse farm contract. So we do have a 5-year contract with Kerry and over at Windmill. And so that does provide stability. And I think that was drawn out process, but I think it was a good process. The other thing we've done is we've approved the contract, the general contractor's contract for the fire department. So that's fire department number 3 on Welsh Road. Will probably get torn down and they'll start doing stuff. So if you travel Welsh Road, you should hopefully see things moving over there. Probably sometime later this year, early in the spring when they really start doing things. So that's been an interesting process. Where I think it plays into some of the stuff with parks is this was the first time, at least since we've done library and Richardson Center and all these other things, that we paid for a group to be an owner's representative. So they put a lot of their experience. They have engineers, designers, so they are representing us. So instead of taking 7 people that have limited engineering skills, if any, on the board to make decisions, they were doing that. Where I think that makes a play is we've been trying to use them in working some stuff with buyers and the farmhouse, and they're looking things over. Now that's not going to be connected to the fire station contract, but I think that it will help us move along whatever it is we're looking to do with that. So that's worked out well, and we've had a good experience with it. So hopefully good things. Other than that, I think there's been limited things on there that would be of interest. So,
Hey, Bob, quick question for you. What are they going to do? I mean, since that's going to, I'm sure, take at least a year to build, what do we do for fire service in that area during that period with the new construction?
we've just decided not to provide service in that area, Bill.
Okay.
I'm teasing. Come on. They've already moved out. They're up in Walled Lake Fire Department. So we've worked out an agreement with Walled Lake. They've been working out of there now.
Sarcasm very well either, do you?
It's tough on Zoom, isn't it? They've probably been up there now. I want to say 2 weeks. It might have been longer. So we should be. They're gonna, do the fire training in the old department, cutting through the roof, those type things, and then we're going to tear that building down. So they're already working out of the Walled Lake Fire Department
Perfect
area.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Burkheiser.
Yes, sir.
All right, if there's no other questions for Bob, we can move on to the park liaison reports, and Bob, we'll start with you.
So there really isn't anything new or up to date on the Victory Park or
Wise
we
Woods.
say Wise Acres, but it's Wise Woods. I do that just for Tim.
White crackers.
Wise Crackers, yeah. Feel like Green Acres sometimes. So nothing new in those areas. I guess just does somebody have Maple Glen? Is that Tim's? I was just going to say I was out of Maple Glen. I thought it looked good. I was out there Sunday, and I don't know. I won't steal any of your stuff, so go ahead. Nothing new on the
Just
Wise
noted,
Road properties.
noticed a couple trees were not doing so good, but so far I thought everything looked good too.
So I will ask though, because I think Mark is on here. Are you on? Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I saw some bags on the trees that are on the circle. Are we filling those with water, or are we going to be taking them off shortly because of the rain, or what are we?
Yeah, we're
What do
going
we
to
do?
take them off probably this week or next week. We put them on because it was so hot. And Emily
Okay.
requested we put them on, and we usually do, as soon as we bought them last year, I think it was, or year before, trying to save what we can.
Yeah, those ones look pretty good. I did walk over and check where the Boy Scout put some trees in, and we'll probably end up, which is probably normal, but we'll probably end up losing about half those trees over there. But so some of them seem to be hanging on. So
Yeah, they're
Just
doing
maybe
pretty good.
maybe
It's just
they'll
come
the
back.
cedars that aren't.
When you plant a large amount like that, the arborist told me you should count on a third of them living. So looks like they're
Oh,
doing
really?
good. Yeah.
Lose 60%. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh. That's it.
I took 2 of those red maples home and put them in a pot and sitting out in my yard. They're looking pretty good. Of course, I'm watering them. I guess that's the big deal. So
All right, Tim, did you have more?
No,
Okay. Who's next? Linda? Oh, you're on mute.
All I heard was a lot of cheering this weekend over there, so I think that Josh has got things going full speed over there.
All right, Bill?
A couple things I've been working on with Russo on trying to get some prices and stuff to improve that diamond over by Centennial. And I've been in contact with Bruce Kilmer, trying to figure out the square footage that we need for meal, the baseball meal is what they call it, the dust that goes on the ground, to improve that. And then I guess those other things, are we looking at those prices for skate park for the tennis court area,
Yes.
which seem to be very expensive?
Well, some of them were, but then the options I sent out today weren't as bad.
Okay. But anyhow, we're looking to that. We could probably get that thing done at a reasonable amount of money. When I get the final numbers in from these guys, we'll know. And what it looks like that we can do quite a bit of the work ourselves. I think they already went out there and killed it off for us.
Not yet. We're still working on that.
Oh, we get the guy that's got the license to go out there?
Yep.
But that's our first step, is what we're going to do. I think Mark already went out, marked off the area. I gave him dimensions of the diamond for a Little League diamond, 60-foot base path diamond. So once we kill off all that grass, then we can put a shovel in the ground, see how much base is there. And I think we can get that into a decently shaped field for under 10 grand. So, which is pretty cheap to make a baseball diamond. So other than that, that's all I've got. The rest of the stuff we're going to do through the budget and get some more picnic tables and grills out there. But well-used park.
Thank you. Barb?
The Long Park was closed for a while while they were working on the Phragmites, but it is open now. And Mark, if you would like me to meet you over there and show you sometime what needs to be trimmed down, I would be happy to do that. And I also think that all of you should know that Winberry, who the lake is named for, did call me to tell me how pleased he is with how nice the park works. So you should know that, particularly Mark, because you're the ones whose crew works there. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did Sarah join yet, or is she not on?
I haven't seen her on yet.
All right, then I will do Dodge Park. The new soccer field, one of my kids had a game on it yesterday and it was beautiful and it was a perfect day to watch soccer. Tons of kids at Scarlett's Park all the time. Construction's coming along well. I did notice that there's some caution tape around one of the zip lines, which is a bummer because my kids love that one.
It should be
but
fixed this week.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, other than that, it looks great.
Emily, do you ever hear from the Clarks about
Yes.
how happy they are or anything?
They're very happy and she is still working and to make the park beautiful. So she has reached out to a few landscapers and it sounds like she is very close to securing all of the landscaping and irrigation to be donated.
Oh, wow,
Whole area. Yeah.
great.
And
So,
when we were
Emily,
there
can you give us
yesterday,
a-
they were there too. So
Yeah, I
they're
was
using it a
upset.
lot.
I was out there Saturday for a soccer game. Not on the new field. Are we having soccer's on the third field or just on the,
Yes.
are we?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay. So I was on not the new field, but still impressed as to how nice the fields are over there. So Tom, you're doing a good job keeping them in shape. But I did notice, I mean, I know there's a bunch of trash cans out there and it didn't look as bad as I've seen it in the past with trash. I'm not sure if there's signs or what we need to do. I just don't understand how people can have their picnics or birthday parties or whatever they're doing over there and then just leave trash blowing all over the place. But
Yeah.
so I'm not sure what other options we have except having somebody work it. But But with that, Emily, is there an update on the bathroom as to what, because it just, in driving by, I'm not sure, how long before they get the building up? I mean, you said by winter, but it's at a certain point, it's gonna be too cold to do stuff. So do you know what the plan is?
Yeah, so once the building's up, everything within that building can be done through the cold months.
Okay.
So it is scheduled, still on schedule for that project to be complete by the end of this year.
And when's it, because don't we have to dig new lines through there? When's all that supposed to be done?
I have to check, so we have to wait for the sewer line that they're running through the park, that Newton Road sewer connection. Once that's done, then they will make that connection. I'll have to verify with Jason when it looks like that's going to be on the schedule to be done.
Okay. And are we putting irrigation in there? Because the butterfly thing was supposed to get,
Yes.
okay. So that's still in there. Okay.
Yes.
All right, good. Thank you.
All right, up next is the Village of Wolverine update.
Well, the village is still entertaining applications for a new administrator. The last one took a job as administrator of Clausen, so we seem to be a training ground. But anyway, so that's all that's going on over there.
So Linda, is that a financial reason that you guys just don't want to
Oh,
pay,
no, we pay 'em,
or?
we pay, they get paid.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, they get paid pretty well, but when you get offered
Okay.
a job by a town the size of Clausen, the
Yeah.
pay increases substantially. The other one
Sure.
is now the administrator for Livingston County. So it's kind of like our police force. It's the same thing. It's a small little community, and we're stepping stones. So I think they're probably going to go back to someone who may be a bit older and wants this to be their last pension.
Pension system. No wonder your taxes are so high.
Okay.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. But anyways, yeah, so and also they approved the expansion of the new building on Clara Miller Park that's going to have storage and I think it's going to have cafeteria-like facilities to serve food at our events. So there's going to be new Johns and a bigger building.
Cool.
Good.
All right, next is the Maintenance Department report.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, but the tickets were handed out at Mill Race Park for graffiti. We got 2 adults. They got 2 adults and 2 minors.
How old are the adults, Mark?
18, I think. Yeah, I think they were both 18. Wendy said. And the minors, she didn't say how young they were. We found them. They put their Snapchat tag right on there and took pictures. We seen them like real smart. So we sent that out to Wendy and she took care of it.
So do they have to provide community service? Do you know? Like
we don't know yet. They
scrubbing
have a court date. They
scrubbing
got a
that
ticket.
graffiti off?
Yeah, they have a court date. So we don't know what the judge is gonna have them do. But I sure would like to sit in on that.
Is it over at our court, in the Novi court?
I'll ask Wendy. It probably is. That's where we had the last kid that did it. It was 52nd over there in Novi.
Okay. Tell them to get Judge Law on that. That'll work.
Oh, yeah. Good.
David.
There you go.
Then at Bicentennial, we have a light that was cut when they cut trees down years back. And I was just wondering if we could somehow get that fixed. It's right up there by the tennis courts. And if we flick the circuit breaker, it just shorts out because it's, cut wire. And so it would be great if we can get that fixed.
Have you called Miss Dig? Can they try to identify where the line?
They won't search for a wire for us. No.
Well,
I asked Jay a number of times, so
I've
I'll
got the
ask him
equipment.
again.
You
I
have
have-
the equipment?
Yeah, I have underground. That's what my company does. We service that type of equipment. for
There we
all
go.
So I've got those in the office that are loaners. I can show you how to use it, Mark. It's not hard as long as you disconnect it, hook it to a ground, hook to the lead, trace it out.
Oh, great, yeah,
Help
that'll
out.
work, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got it. So it's not a problem. Just depth, right where it's
Yeah.
at.
All right, Willie, that sounds good. Appreciate it.
You betcha.
And then Skylar's Playground, hate to beat a dead horse, but yeah, it's pretty bad there. It's we came in Monday and it was just terrible. And Bob, you're right. They don't know how to use the garbage cans. A lot of people do. They just throw garbage anywhere they want. It'd be great if we can get somebody to volunteer or I could send one of the guys come in Saturday and give them, tell them go home a couple hours early one day during the week. If that's okay. And the platform at Long Park, I want to start doing that this week. I want to use the composite boards for the wheelchair accessible. So Barb, we can meet over there and I can show you what I want to do over there and then let me know what you think.
Okay.
And that's it.
Thank you. Next is the Buyers Boo Bash.
Okay, so I know that Karen and Dean are on and I'm going to let them talk about this. But just to give you guys an update, this is an event that we did approve when they came with their proposed events last year. Obviously, COVID has changed a lot of things for us. I think that the group has done their part in making this be able to work under the restrictions. What they have proposed, I did include in your packet. I think the only thing that's changed is they're only going to send 75 people through as opposed to 100. That way it doesn't go over the 100 with the volunteers and the participants. And I did send their plan over to the township attorneys and he was comfortable with their plan that this was acceptable to meet all of the current executive orders. So Karen
So I
and
guess-
Dean, if you have more to say, please.
Well, let me ask one question since you talked about it, because the new executive orders allow a lot more people as long as they're
Outdoors.
being kept. What's that?
There are a lot more people out outdoors now.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
or-
That's what I'm saying. And this is an outside program. And so I hate to have people have to schedule a certain time to go do something. I mean, I think we can keep them separated. So I guess my question to Emily would be, with this new executive order that goes into effect before Boo Bash.
October 9th.
Right. So is that something, because I think it was up to 500 people now. Maybe
Okay,
it
I
was more
didn't,
than that.
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't pay attention to the outdoor number. I was more concerned about the indoor number, but I don't, if it's been raised, I honestly don't see an issue. What they're proposing.
Because what
I
it
mean,
says is
sounds good.
non-residential outdoor gatherings and events must limit attendance to, they have a 30 people per 1,000 square feet, or 30% of fixed seating, which that doesn't apply, with a maximum of 1,000 people. So I don't know how that really applies when you're doing a walkthrough, as long as you're keeping people socially distanced. This makes it sound like,
We'll ask.
that we can do it. And then there's another area of the executive order that states that there's a maximum of 500 people allowed in the state's largest venue. So to me, that sounds like if you're having a something going on, an activity, that we should be allowed up to 500 people. So anyway, I would just ask Han
Yeah,
how that may change things.
I'll verify everything.
Okay.
Yep, if they wanna move it to 100, I honestly don't see where the issue will be, but I will verify that everything follows what it needs to follow on our end.
If
Dean,
I
how
could
many
jump in
people-
for just a moment, Dean and Karen, the telephone line has their hand raised.
Yeah, just as we coordinated, we're trying to keep it within the state mandate of 100 people. And how we've got this organized is we're going to do this in half-hour increments of 75 people. And we're going to have a monitoring people going in and out, including the volunteers. So we're going to keep it under the 100 person state mandate for people on the grounds. And we'll have a cleaning, sanitation station as they enter and as they leave. And we're going to have 5 theme stations, Halloween theme stations, that they'll pick up their candy, but they'll be in bags, pre-bagged months ago. So there'll be very little human contact with the candy being handed out, or the kids will just pick the candy out themselves. So we've got 100 people interested already, so they feel really comfortable in this venue, and it's a lot safer for them as opposed to going into a neighborhood and many houses handling candies and so on. So. And yeah, we're requiring masks, and we're going to keep everything in accordance to what the state mandates.
So Byers is looking for formal approval just due to the circumstances of COVID, that you guys approved the plan that was presented to you, and that you do know that it was approved by the township attorney. And again, I will work with Dean and our township attorney to make sure that if they were to increase the number, that falls within the guidelines.
I'll make a motion to support their event.
Second,
I'll second it.
Motion by Petch, second by Wickert to support the Byers Boo Bash event in October, making sure that Dean works with the township attorney to meet the maximum number of people guidelines. Any
And Dean,
discussion?
One discussion. Dean, it's just more, a reminder, we'll say it that way, that we don't charge for any entry into I know we had this discussion over the weekend, but it's for everything, for whether it's baseball, football, whatever. We're not charging entry to any of our parks. If there's a donation out there, that's great. And I just say that as a general reminder.
Yeah, I think we changed all that, the wordage anyway, as we were advertising on social media, and it'll be regarded as a $2 donation as they come in the door. So.
Right, any more discussion? If not, we'll do a roll call vote.
Pesh,
Yes.
Wickert,
yes,
Burkheiser,
Yes.
Garbutt,
Yes.
Cast,
Yes.
Champagne.
Yes.
Thank you. We don't have Sarah on, do we?
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the baseball diamond at Bicentennial.
So Bill touched base on this. I know that he met, please forgive me, I forgot the name of the person he met with over there. And
Mark.
I also met with Mark Russo over there, and we actually went to Hickory Glen and looked at one of their fields also, so that Mark knew exactly what we were looking for. We understand that this is just a neighborhood park, so we don't need the, top of the line field over there, just something where people can go and have a pickup game, have a picnic, have family events. The surfacing, like, we want to kill off the
She went to
top
go get dinner.
surfacing, but the base is good, so we don't want to damage the base and have to replace the base. So as Bill said, Mark has gone over and painted the grass so that we know the area that needs to be sprayed. I'm working with Dar Howard, who actually does help with the maintenance of the CW3 soccer fields at Dodge Park. He was going to come over, take a look at it, give us a price on getting that vegetation off, and then he said he would edge it so that when they bring in the material, it goes exactly where the material needs to go. And then Bill, I think you can chime in on, you've been working closely with Mark on getting the proper materials brought in, and
Correct.
those prices will be coming back through.
Yeah, and what Mark said, to keep costs down too, it wouldn't be a problem, since we do have a front end loader, to get the tonnage that we need delivered behind on basically what would be the third base side of the diamond, and be able to use our loader and spread it out, backblade it, and all you do is drive on it with the tires or a skidster.
So it sounds like a very doable project that can be done this year, completed this year, with the help of the township, Bill, myself, Mark. I think we can bring this back next month and have this completed.
cool.
Yep.
This is all in the budget, so we don't need a vote, right?
Yes. Nope, it was all budgeted for.
Cool. All right. Item 9 is the tennis courts.
So we had discussion at the budget meeting about the fact that we were looking at Richardson and doing a concept plan for Richardson. And we've had the great debate for many years now about what to do with the tennis courts. We've had companies come out and tell us that they can seal it and fix the repairs, but they will not guarantee it because they're so deep that they're just going to come back as soon as the cold weather hits. We can pulverize it, rebuild. If we do that, then the question is Bicentennial the correct place to put the tennis courts when one of the number one things we hear requested is pickleball courts, which would fit on a tennis ball court, and that maybe belongs at the Richardson Center instead, since that's a highly seen as a senior activity. So then we talked about looking at options of what we could do for that area in Bicentennial to give the park a facelift and give it back to the neighborhood to be a neighborhood park. And so we looked at the skate park idea. I contacted the company that I talked to prior to, and the 3 things in your agenda packet, those were just ideas. He said he just wanted you to see what you get for your money, but we can take our budget to them and they will design what we need. So the ones that are in your packet, we would have to improve the surfacing. We couldn't just build it on top of the tennis courts that are currently there because obviously the cracks aren't good for skateboards. The 2 options that I sent out today, he felt that they may be a better fit for us because these can go down on, we could fill the cracks and then put that down on the current surface. So budget-wise, you'd get more for your money out of the project. And he said there's like no maintenance. Obviously, if you have vandalism, you're going to have to maintain that. But as far as the structure goes itself, there's little to no maintenance. He said maybe having to paint it within 5 years. So the half pipe design was approximately $35,000, which is what you're looking at. And then the pump track design, well, it was also $35,000. So that second one, that is skateboard and bike friendly. So that option is going to meet more recreational needs, I feel. But something to look at, something to start the discussion with.
So Emily, do all these designs, were they geared to fit on the current tennis court?
Yes,
space?
I gave them this. Yep, I gave them the size. They obviously haven't been out to look at the court, but I did give them the size. And this was just ideas of what we could put there.
So I had several questions. One, have we brought this idea to the attorney? Some of it from a liability point of view.
Not yet.
Okay. It just seems to me that the bicycle thing looks like it's, well, I realize you'll get more people. I just feel like they'll get some speed going on that and we could have some pretty good crashes on that. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Bob, it's at your own risk again, like all the stuff.
well,
Like the sledding hill.
yeah, well,
Does
at your
it-
own risk.
does
At your
it-
own risk, except we as a township built it to, you do assume some liability to that. And then the other question I had is, can we do this if we wanted to in sections? And what I mean is, if you go down a little further, I mean, I liked the skate park one,
Yeah,
but
it's on the original.
I don't know who, yeah, the next one down, maybe. The one that looked like it was 100,000 was so something that had a design like that. But is that something where you could put 3 of them up and then a year later, if that's what you wanted,
Yes.
Well, like
Okay.
the half pipe there on the top of that, it's horizontal on my screen here, but the top is the
Right.
half pipe. That was 50 grand, right? Or,
Yeah.
and then,
35.
then there's the other little things there that they're just placed, Bob. So you could buy them whenever.
Right. But I mean, if you designed it with the idea, I mean, if we have to refinish the whole thing, I have no idea. Maybe that's $25,000. I personally think we would need to pour new concrete in there, but
You would have to.
whatever
yes.
we would pour in as a base. I just think what's there now is in real bad shape personally. But and then so then are you putting this on top of the concrete, or is this a base that goes on top of it?
No, so
So it's like
they actually like the material that a tennis court is made out of. It's not necessary, but that is what they recommend. So you're going to want to put down
Whatever that is.
maybe not to that degree, but something along those lines. I mean, he told me there's no specifications of what the ground actually needs to be. It's just taken into consideration when people fall, how bad they're gonna get hurt. So all things that we need to continue the conversation with him about if this is something you're interested in. I didn't want to get too far into this and then have it not be an idea that we were interested in pursuing.
So I'll tell you that from my N of 25, which means I asked the Boy Scout troop. So these are kids that are roughly 10 to 16 years of age. Would you like tennis or pickleball courts or a skate park? I don't need to say that none of them pick pickleball or tennis courts. So,
What do you mean?
Bob, did
What do you
you,
mean? Do you want to play tennis?
I told them, I said, come on, you're not going to do this in high school. Tennis is gonna get you through a college scholarship. They all looked at me. So
no,
If
did,
I
did,
remember correct, Tim
Skateboarding-
Wickert's like a champion at pickleball.
Olympic event, guys.
Long time ago.
Didn't Wixom put up a skateboard park at Gunner Metallica?
Actually, Allison Kennedy can comment on that. I think they're working on that. Oh, no, not, maybe she can't. Maybe she told me about Milford.
It's Milford.
Yeah.
I know that they finally got approval for it and they're supposed to start it, but they haven't put it in yet.
Yeah, I thought Wixom was doing something too at Gunner.
I can double check with them over at Wixom. I haven't
Well,
seen, but
we can wait and see what goes on with those, you guys.
That's what I'm thinking.
Popular they are.
I know we have well, Village of Wolverine Lake has an unsanctioned one over by our tennis courts that we just kind of let happen. So it was made on a hill and the kids have kind of built it up and they use it and it's kind of for like dirt biking and jumping and stuff like that. So we haven't had any purported accidents.
How much money do we have budgeted? I can't remember, Emily, for bicentennial.
Thanks.
I want to say it was 100,000.
I do
yay.
too.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it looks like 100,000.
Yeah, we could put one of those first two things in, I guess.
And how much is the resurfacing?
I'll have to get a price on that. I need to have a more in-depth conversation and have them actually come out to see what their concerns are about what's currently there.
All right, let's just follow up on it and see what happens.
Okay, you got it.
All right. Up next. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I'll put what I was thinking under other matters. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. Item 10 is bleacher pads. Was that in the agenda?
There's nothing attached to it,
Okay.
so it's a conversation. And we've had this conversation in the past with Lakes Athletics. I know Josh is on. They worked and got grants and donations to buy new bleachers, and we have always discussed, especially as far as maintenance goes, about pouring a concrete pad to put the bleachers on. That way we don't have all the weeds and stuff growing up underneath them. And seems like right now would probably be the time to do that if they are getting in their bleachers. And it's my understanding that they've started receiving them or will be receiving them soon. We would make these bleacher pads ADA accessible so that if you have somebody who is in a wheelchair that obviously cannot utilize the bleachers, that they could roll up and still sit and watch their family member play ball. So we put it on here to have the discussion, to see if it's something the township's interested in. Mark and I have started looking at this. Mark has some ideas and some questions of what it is you guys would like to see and what you would like it to look like so that we can gather pricing and bring back to you.
So are the bleachers a standard size? For lack of whatever, the area that they're taking now, is it whatever, 20 feet wide by 40 feet long? So therefore the pads would be a standard size, or is they all different?
Josh, are you able to answer that question? Is he still on?
Yeah, I'm on. So all the bleacher sets we got are all identical size. They're 15 feet long, and then they're 4-row. They're called like low step rows. So the height is about maybe 3.5 feet. So it's about 15 to 17 feet long, and then about 6 to 8 feet wide. And like I said, all of the sets are the same. Even the old sets we have are the exact same size. So.
Okay.
And then
So,
just
Emily,
a
what
comment on
makes-
that. Just a quick
So what
comment on
makes
that.
something, what makes it ADA accessible? Is that you have an extra, I have no idea, 6 feet at one end that a wheelchair can go? Is that how that works?
Yeah, it's the pad, the pad itself, not the bleachers. The pad itself would be considered to be ADA accessible because we would give them a spot to sit and watch the ball game as well.
So what we're talking is pouring a pad that's roughly 10 by 60.
Correct.
And these bleachers would not just sit on them. I assume they would have to be bolted down. So they'll have to be coordinated that when bleachers get poured, that bolts or
Yes.
something, right? Get put in so that they can, okay.
Yeah,
Correct.
with our donation too, we also got, it's called well, I guess they're called bleacher anchors. You can screw these into the ground. They're like almost an inch in diameter, solid steel, like auger, basically. You have to drill it in with, what I'm guessing is probably gonna have to be like a skidster, because you're not gonna get them in by hand. They're like more girthy than what we use up north for our dock. We also got the metal strips that also can be used to attach to a cement pad as well. So we have some flexibility with how we want to make those, not tip over or more permanent. I don't necessarily think we have to coordinate exact, bolts in concrete per se, but like I said, we have some options there.
Emily, is this
And
something
I guess I would say, Emily, we need to get a rough idea what
Yep.
whatever.
So Mark, can you go over your ideas with the committee so that we can make sure that we're on the right road of what it is they want to see there?
Right, yeah, whatever they want, just shoot me whatever you guys feel you want. I'm gonna have a concrete guy come out and give us an estimate what it's gonna cost to do each one.
So you had talked about digging down so that it was
Yeah.
level with the ground as opposed to
make it
having it
level.
raised and then a ramp?
We're gonna have to do that if it's ADA accessible. We can't have anything where it's an incline where they could slip off or
Probably more cost effective too than having to build
Yeah.
up a ramp that way.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And then there was, like I said, we could use millings, but that might be too rough for the wheel to ADA to get on. We could use the composite boards, we could do that too. We can anchor those in the ground, make a smooth surface. There's a few things, it just depends on what they feel they want. And I'll get a price for all those if you want.
So Josh, if it's okay with you, maybe if you have time this week, you could meet myself and Mark over at the park so that we're making sure we're getting the correct amount of slabs and where you want them.
How many are we talking about?
So we have 8 bleachers that were donated that we just put together. We have an additional 4, so a total of 12. That would be 12 at the park now. So 4 were pre-existing, and then, like I said, 8 new ones.
And they're all, whatever that is, roughly 8 by 50 in length.
Yeah, well, they're not 50 feet long; they're 15 feet long. So
My mistake. I thought you said 50.
Yeah, no, it's gigantic. No, I would think I'm not an ADA expert, but I would think a 20 by 8 or a 20 by 10 pad would probably be plenty good.
Well, yeah, if they're 15, you probably give another, even if you did 25 feet, that would be plenty of room. So, okay. So you're talking about 10 by 25. Okay. Makes a big difference there.
Yeah, I don't know how much you need to put in the front. Like,
whatever.
Even 8 feet, yeah.
So if you guys are in support of this, like I say, it's something that we have had discussions on in the past on a maintenance level, then we will continue to do our research and bring this back to you.
Sounds good.
All right, up next is the concert in the parks for 2021.
So I put it on here because, I mean, we need to have the discussion. My goal is to move on as next year is going to be a normal year and schedule our date, start looking for food trucks and do everything the way we would even if 2020 would have ran.
Yeah, I am just like what we used to always do, run the same course.
Okay.
I would hope that everything is back in order by then.
Hope.
That's what we'll do.
Sounds
We're
good.
still looking to work with the same company?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, up next is the update on the Hickory Glen and Richardson Center concept plans.
So I just want you to know where we're at. So we have walked the sites. Living Lab did come back and we had a quick Zoom meeting with Bob and then George Weber from the trustee board. And we reviewed their preliminary concept plan. They didn't want to get too in depth with it if there was some things that we didn't like, and that actually was the case for the Richardson Center. They had several options to actually remove the playground over there, and we didn't want to see that happen. That's highly used. So they're kind of going back and revisiting some things, trying to get some answers on a few questions. They're going to wrap up their original concept design, and then that will be presented to you guys, we're hoping by next month. So the Hickory Glen concept is primarily focusing on, we're not taking away the mature trees, the look, the neighborhood park, you know, that feel. But what we're looking at doing is making parking pads, or parking pods, I'm sorry. So right now, when you pull in there, all of you know, you just kind of park wherever you want. There's nothing that even tells you like, oh, look, there's a parking spot, or, you know, oh, it looks like people should park there, or, you know, we should park this way and not that way. So we're trying to give that guide without pouring a large area of concrete and taking away from the park. We understand that they have tournaments. They had one this weekend. People park out on the road, you know, they find a place to park. So we want to have a designated overflow parking area that the league would know where to park. We would need the league to monitor and manage that to make sure that people are using it in the correct way. But as Bob says, you don't build the church for Christmas service, so we're not going to build the park for their couple tournaments a year. We need to make sure that there's overflow parking, but we need to make sure that it still remains parkland and not just pour concrete. We also looked at putting in an emergency exit. Looks like it's going to be more of a permanent entrance and exit, which I think is needed, not in the original spot we were thinking of, but to do it more cost effectively. We are going to be putting in an area so that if inclement weather or something comes, that people have two options of getting out of the park.
Good. I'm happy with
Emily,
that.
Emily,
Yes,
are we going to do anything with disc golf at all?
that wasn't discussed on this. So that's in the original concept for Hickory Glen, and that's not going away. So if that's something we want to pursue, I think that we can do that in-house. But I don't want to include that in this concept plan. This concept plan was geared at looking at that emergency entrance exit.
Okay.
So we'll just follow the original concept for that.
Okay.
So do we have somebody, Emily, for disc golf? Because I actually was asked by one of the scout leaders. One, he's involved in it, but his son was interested potentially down the line for an Eagle Scout project. I'm not sure if a true disc golf course is in the realm of a project. I don't know much about it. But if that's something, because I thought originally we were looking at doing something like that over in Victory. So is that true, or I thought that was where it was in
Well,
the master plan.
I think our original one was a combination with Wolverine Lake and ours, the park across the street, and then down the westerly side of Hickory Glen, back in through there.
So we've always had discussion about doing it at Wise Road, and we've been approached by a lot of individuals over the years that would like to see it at Wise Road. And ideally,
makes
disc
more sense.
golfers would like it there. We looked at putting it at Hickory Glen. This is more active park, kind of already developed. There's already parking. You know, there's a lot of things that aren't done over on Wise Road that I don't know if you want to put the activity in without providing a safe place to park. I think it could go either place, and I think it would be successful at either place. It's
Well,
just the timeline.
Yeah, I agree, Emily. I mean, down the road, I think Wise is the best place for it to be. But right now, we're years away from getting anything done there to make an adequate parking area and ingress and egress to that park. And until we get to that point, disc golf isn't very expensive. I mean, and you can pull up the baskets and you can move them if you want. I mean, once they're just in cement, it's just a fence post with a basket and a cage on it, basically.
Yes.
So it's not a great expense, and they are movable.
And I think, honestly, Bob, it would be a good Eagle Scout project. Maybe they couldn't do the whole course. I think our course is 13 holes, but they could do 1 or 2 holes. And yeah, like you say, it's inexpensive really to build one.
I think Wolverine Lake is out for a number of reasons. One being we couldn't even get a practice field over at Clara Miller for soccer with all those people that lived on the park, and that the whole plan for the disc golf was running the whole line from Clara Miller down through that residential neighborhood. And I just think that there's just gonna be so much kickback because there's houses along that whole thing. So I don't think you're gonna, I mean, not to say that we can't bring it before Parks and Recs at Wolverine Lake. I know when I was on Parks and Recs there, we were hugely behind it. But then we ran into all sorts of issues with the neighbors who think that the parks are their own backyards. So I don't know that we should move ahead without getting some input from Wolverine Lake Parks and Recs.
Well, I mean,
and assuming we can use that trailway.
Yeah, but Bob, if your guy wants to start us off with, in the Eagle Scouts with 3 holes, whatever he can afford to do when he looks at it, it's a start. And we'll see if people like it. If they start using that, we can probably expand on it. We get some input from the people that are using it and see where they're coming from.
One of the biggest disc golf companies is in Wixom. When we were looking at it for Wolverine Lake. And I think that there's a good place to start about getting their help. They were going to do layouts and everything else for us. So I'm not sure that anybody who's really into disc golf, that 3 holes would be, I think you'd have to do a 9.
I agree. But I think
Well, remember,
on our side, and then the other 9 was on Wolverine's side. So we could do 9 within Hickory Glen, but maybe even talk to the company about doing a redesign also. Because when ours was designed, it was designed with the intent of being a partnership between Commerce and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Well, and remember that Joey Phipps was going to work
Yep.
on that, and I know he will do that. He's very dependable.
All right, let's follow up with it down the road.
Okay. Allison has it on her agenda.
I'll get in touch with the president of the board or Parks and Recs, Mark Giamini, and see and have them bring it up at their next meeting too.
All right. Any agenda requests for our next meeting?
I guess not.
I'll bring back everything that needs to come back. I'll probably put the meeting schedule on.
I think we'll have a live meeting next time, right, Em?
It honestly depends on what the rest of the boards do. So they want to keep consistency. This is what I'm told is they want to keep consistency among all township meetings to not confuse residents.
Or employees.
All right. Any other matters? Bob, I know you had one.
Just that I think, obviously we'll have a new board, a supervisor at least. And I think we ought to think about trying early to get in for our quarterly. So I was going to ask whether you guys wanted to, if we know now that we're going to look to do something for the end of the January quarterly, which is end of January, to present before the board. I think it helps us take what we want to do with our parks and try and get things moving early. So
I
that's
agree.
where I was going with that. And I'll be more than happy to try and claim that spot and go back to at a township meeting and let them know that Parks would like to do a Parks board quarterly meeting at our January discussion session.
I agree with that.
And hopefully, I agree with Bill, hopefully we're back to being live with just the numbers that we can have, but anyway, we'll see. So does that sound good? You want me to ask that?
Yes.
So I'll ask and you can ask. Okay, so we'll shoot for January. Okay. That was it. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Anybody else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Motion by Pesh, second by Wickert to adjourn. Do we need to roll call this?
Yes.
All right.
Pesh,
Yes.
Wickert,
Yes.
Garbutt,
Yes.
Henderson's not here. Champagne,
Yes.
Burkheiser,
Yes.
Cast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
right.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
See you
Ken.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great night.
All right.
I mean, we should put Sarah down as excused.